New York meeting. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Saunders. Trustee Saunders. Trustee White.
Present.
Trustee DeRose.
Here.
Trustee Ming.
Present.
Trustee McOwen.
Present.
Trustee Torres.
Present.
Trustee Russo. Present. Trustee Williams. Present. Trustee Miller. Before we get started this evening, I have a message from Trustee-elect Darcy Miller. Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Hamilton, Mount Vernon City School District Administration, and the public. I regret that due to a travel commitment made and paid for in 2017, I am unable to attend this evening's meeting. I am honored to return to the Mount Vernon School Board and to have the opportunity to be a part of the great transformation underway in our district. As a participant in the creation of the 2020 vision, I am deeply gratified to be a part of this team that will bring this vision to a successful conclusion. I look forward to working with all of you into a highly successful 3 years. Sincerely yours, Darcy Miller. Mrs. Miller will be sworn in when she returns from her trip on or about July 9th. That said, I'd like to take this opportunity to swear in our new trustee-elects. We'll start with Trustee Wanda White. If you want to meet me in the center, Ms. White. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Wanda White,
I, Wanda White,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and faithfully
the
discharge
duties of the office
the duties of the
of
office
School Board Trustee.
as School Board Trustee.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will now swear in Trustee-elect Micah McOwen. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Micah McOwen,
I, Micah McOwen,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the
of
office
School Board Trustee.
of School Board Trustee.
Congratulations. The next order of business this evening is taking nominations for the office of President of the Mount Vernon City School District Board of Education for the 2017-18 school year. 2018-19 school year. Any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Wanda White.
Second. Are there other nominations for the office of President?
Does anybody-
I'd like to nominate Michael McOwen.
Is there a second? Second.
Do I have to accept the nomination?
I don't think so.
Can I just say something? Trustee Rose, I deeply appreciate and honor the nomination. I truly do. I have thought about this, and I do not feel I have the time to dedicate to that office, and I feel it would be doing a disservice to the district, to me, to put myself up there as president, knowing, as I know, it's the time commitment involved. So I'm humbled and gratified and very glad to continue serving as a trustee and doing my best on the committee work. But for those of the public who may not know, it is an administrative burden to serve as president of this board. There are many more meetings that you attend in addition to the regular trustee meetings. And I don't want to accept something that I don't feel I could give 100% to. So I decline, but thank you very much.
Are there any other nominations for the office of president?
Nominate Wanda White, trustee Wanda White. She's good.
All right. Well, seeing as there are no other nominations, resolved that the Mount Vernon Board of Education be elect Wanda White to serve as president of the Board of Education for the 2018-19 school year. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Trustee Jaros abstains. The motion carries. All right, our next order of business is opening the floor for nominations for the office of Vice President of the School Board for the 2018-19 school year.
I'd like to nominate trustee Arlene Torres.
Second.
No, I was second that as well.
We have a second from Dr. Ning. Are there other nominees for the office of Vice President?
I'd like to nominate trustee Nicole.
Is there a second?
I will again decline for the same reason, but again, I very appreciate the gesture of confidence. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Close nominations. We have a motion on the floor to elect Ms. Arlene Torres as Vice President of the Mount Vernon City School District Board of Education for the 2018-19 school year. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Trustee Jaros abstains. The motion carries.
I reserve the right to fight you to the death next year. We'll see.
That out of the way, I now need just to swear in the new officers. So, Ms. White, you want to meet me in the middle again? Or would you rather do that here?
Doesn't matter.
The world, enjoy your photo op.
Get my good side.
Please raise your right hand. I, Wanda White,
I, Wanda White,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully
the
discharge
duties of the office
my duties of the
of
office
School Board President.
of School Board President.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. I, Arlene Torres, do solemnly swear
I, Arlene Torres, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the
of
office
School Board Vice President.
of School Board Vice President.
Congratulations. It's now my honor. You want to switch? You want to stay over there? Switch.
It's been an honor, I tell you.
Carry your name tags.
Musical chairs.
While they're moving, I just want to add for the record, in case I don't want there to be any implication that I do not have absolute and full confidence in this leadership. I'm not just declining a nomination because I don't have time. I'm declining, and also because I know these two women, and I have spoken with them about this particular opportunity, and I believe that they have the skill set to lead us. So I'm excited to serve under them.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce for the first time Wanda White as president of the school board for the 2018-19 school year.
I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all the trustees for their confidence in me. I hope I can serve as well as previous presidents. So I thank you again, and thank all the public for being here to see me take this step. If I make a mistake, from the heart, not from the heart, but just let me know. Don't talk about me. Just tell me when I made a mistake. Just don't talk about me. Okay. Does anyone have anything to remove from the agenda?
Reorganization, no.
No. Reorg. Can I have the
Great. Did we
What
correct
did I
that?
do? Approval of the consent agenda items?
Motion.
Motion?
Trustee McCohen, second. Trustee Russo. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
May I have a motion to adjourn the reorganization meeting?
Trustee Torres, second. Trustee Saunders, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Now we're going to go to the regular agenda.
Communication from the public.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. The Mount Vernon City School District recognizes the importance of public comment at our Board of Education meetings, and the critical importance of community discourse involving the education of Mount Vernon's children, and accordingly members of the public are invited to speak at each regularly scheduled board meeting subject to the terms and conditions of board policy. Speakers must register in advance by no later than 4 p.m. on the date of the meeting by contacting the district clerk in person here at 165 North Columbus Avenue, Mount Vernon, by phone at 914-665-5235, or via email at rmccormack@mtvernon.csd.org. The board welcomes all respectful comment, whether praise or criticism. However, identifying and criticizing a specific student, parent, teacher, administrator, or other Mount Vernon education official or employee is strictly prohibited. Such complaints must be presented and addressed through proper administrative channels. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to speak, with up to 1 additional minute to be used for the speaker to summarize and conclude their remarks. If appropriate, board trustees and/or the superintendent or his or her designee at the superintendent's direction may respond to the speaker's remarks. Our first speaker this evening is former school board trustee Brenda L. Crump.
Good evening, everyone.
Ms. Crump, before we're having to glitch with the timer, so I'm going to do it over here so you can see it on here. I know.
We need to get that fixed. Speakers need to be able to see the time, so y'all just gonna make me start. I haven't been here in a while. I'll say welcome back to myself. Hope I was missed. I want to start out with I have done some catching up because I'm never going to be behind when I come. So very much so, as always, liking a lot of the good things that are happening in our district with our buildings, our facilities on the outside. I keep saying I have to go by and visit the schools and see all the many changes. One question I have that I was surprised upon returning in town is Graham, that the main entrance at Graham wasn't completed yet. And if you can share what was the target date for the completion of that, and maybe what's the hold up. I'm not into construction, so I don't know exactly how long it takes, but I thought that that might have been completed by now. Also, very excited to hear that the pool will actually be able to have bodies in the water on July 9th it is, I believe. So, but so I'm happy about that. And Superintendent, have you had your swim yet? I heard you're supposed to be the first one to dip into the pool. I don't know why that is, but I heard that. But you have, okay. So I'm happy, you know, that our pool is finally up and the bodies are going to be in there. Just one thing I'd like to offer is it said on the website that proof of residency is required. So I guess maybe you might want to put up what type of proof of residency that you want people to come with. And I guess that's at the time that they come for the pool. And I guess, how would that work? Will there be some type of register or something, or every time a resident comes, they have to bring proof? Or would that be logged in? How would that process work? Also, I would like to follow up on, in regards to special education and the 504s and children receiving copies of that. I'd like to know what's the status of that, where we are in reference to children not having to ask for that document, but to be able to receive it upon graduation to help them along with their plans for life after high school. And I also have a question in regards to, will you please explain, Superintendent, I heard you say via the board meeting recording that you did not have the superintendent reading carnival challenge there at the high school because of construction. And I attended Controller Deborah Reynolds' annual games, and she said that she didn't have her event at the high school she usually does because of construction, but the fireworks was held there. So if somebody will, you know, explain what was happening there, maybe the construction was finished by then, I don't know. And will you also let me know the generic you, whomever feel that they should answer, in regards to a resolution. I'm not quite sure if there was a resolution for the use of the high school for the fireworks. I'm not sure, let me know if there was or wasn't. If there wasn't, I caution the district again that we know incidents, accidents, things happen, and I would hate to see the district after all of its good progress and everything that it's doing to be faced with, you know, some type of a lawsuit because they did not follow proper protocol and procedures. And if there was an incident or an accident, you know, lawyers that kind of go down the line with everybody and checking to make sure that all T's were crossed and I's were dotted. So I'd like, you know, to know some information on that. And another thing, the school district is doing so well, and really the school district, in spite of some of its challenges, which, you know, we all have those. I'll speak to that later in another meeting, but this meeting will be, you know, I'm coming back, so I'll come back lightly. But I would, the school district is a model, you know, modeling with the budget being the Facebook Live. That was really great, and I was very, very happy to see that a second one came out and the community had an opportunity to get copies of the budget, you know, so that they could adequately prepare for their questions for the live stream. I appreciate that. So with a number of things that the district is doing well and being a model, especially for climate in our city, in reference to following rules, policies, regulations, procedures, legislation, and so forth, the district is a model for that. And I'd hate to see the district, you know, slide down the slippery slope of not being a model of following your policies, the rules, regulations, and practice. Because what we say to one, we should say to all, and no one should be exempt.
Thank you.
With that said, excuse me, somebody?
I was going to say the time is up.
Okay. And my additional minute? See, that doesn't work, because if the timer is up there, I'll know, you know, how to pace myself and know when my minute is up.
As soon as we go, I'm going to see why, I don't know why.
Okay. So just, if I may, one last thing, the live stream, are we or are we not doing live streams? A couple times I've tried to log on and I didn't see a link in the main meeting notice. Please, let's continue to keep our communication going with our community. Every mode and method of communication we can use, we should always do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, good evening, Mrs. Crump. It's good to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm going to take your questions out of order, if that's okay.
That is okay, as long as you answer all of them, it's okay.
I'm going to ask Mr. Policio to prepare to respond to Graham School, the resolution regarding the fireworks, and then I'm going to have Alfredo, who's with us this evening, who's coordinating all of our pool efforts, to give you an update on how the registration, proof of residency will work for the pool. Regarding the 504 update, I can give you that information now, even though we are reorganizing our special ed department and our organization chart as relates to student support services. Dr. Gaon has been appointed this evening as the 504 officer, so that remains under her supervision. And 504s are in the process now of being mailed to graduates, graduated this June. So those 504s are en route. And the live stream information, Mr. McCormick, what's the status of live
We
stream?
are currently live streaming as we speak.
Okay. And Mr. Policio, if you will address Graham School and the fireworks. And there were two questions on the firework. And then Alfredo, if you would come and speak to the pool update and the proof of residency.
Good evening, everybody. With regards to Graham School, the target date for September of 2018 is still on target. And the reason that we had stretched it out over the summer is a lot of the work that has to be done on the front entrance could not be done while school was in session. So we're ramped up, we're completely on schedule, and unless there's an unforeseen condition, we will be ready for the September opening. With regards to the 3 events that happened at the high school, I believe it was Deborah Reynolds.
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen at the high school, and the reading challenge, those were moved to Traphagen because at those particular times the construction was actually going on. It was an unsafe condition. They were doing the field. The field was completely, the track was completely torn up, and it would make that infield very unsafe. As far as the fireworks came on, the track was completely finished. It had not been lined yet, but it was a safer condition. It was the last event before we closed the field for the major construction that's about to be undertaken. As far as the resolution, it is the understanding of the Buildings and Grounds Department that we were within policy and we didn't need a board resolution for this particular event, as was prescribed by Trustee McOwen's policy on facility use. And it was, we had multiple meetings and it was brought to the desk of the superintendent.
Just a point of clarification, it's not my policy, it's the board's policy. Sorry, on use of facilities. But yes, we according to the policy, as long as insurance procedures are followed, fees are paid where applicable, and we're within, the parameters we set forth for what we consider a regular, more or less routine use of buildings and grounds, then there's no separate resolution process.
Thank you. And lastly, Mr. Ruliano, who is coordinating all of our swim efforts, can just speak. He's actually on the agenda as well. Under my report, he will give a little more information about swim lessons that are scheduled to begin this summer in addition to the open swim that Mrs. Crump already spoke to. But if you could just speak to proof of residency, how that will work, and is it a one-time requirement or does it need to happen at each visit?
So currently right now we don't have a way to track multiple uses, so they would have to bring in proof of residency every single time. The best way that we were thinking about doing this is with a school ID or with a driver's license. That's typically what most places do to prove any kind of residency. So if there was another way that we can do this, I would be more than happy to see what we can do with it. But I guess the next thing would be Con Edison bill or anything like that. But around the water it does get wet.
What, just since you brought it up, where are we at with school IDs generally for students? All students, and staff, we still don't have ours, right? No, I know we have, sorry, let me clarify. In terms of having them be like scannable, readable, non-counterfeitable, I mean, like, I know we're in the process of updating the ID system as of, I know we have IDs, but
Yes. Yes, if you will, Mr. McGrath, where are we with, thank you, Alfredo. Where are we doing to multiple use of the IDs?
Thank you, it's a great question. So obviously, we know that security is of paramount importance. The IDs that we have are actually scannable IDs. We actually are testing downstairs. We have a couple of door locks already set. We have to swipe to get access to, so that's a more secure environment. Also, with the staff IDs and student IDs, we have a scholarship program, and the scholarship program, allows you to walk in, you scan as you walk around with your ID. When I walk into buildings, I don't sign in, I scan it. They know who I am immediately. So that's the procedure that we put in. It's a soft launch. We're still kind of testing it out, but it's been very, very successful so far. So if you have your ID and you walk into a school, and our rollout is schools that have middle schools and above. So next year we have a couple schools that are coming on board because we have more going in 7th grade. So all the schools that have middle schools or above all have those, and the students from 6th grade on in those schools swipe to get in. So actually, as recent as this morning, we were kind of talking about the new entrances because 6th graders would go into a different entrance than elementary schools. So it is actually a process that it's working, and we're expanding as we go through our K model. And in terms of doing things, as we do the new security plans, the different buildings, that's all part of the plan. So it is rolling out, and it's happening.
so 6th graders and above have IDs?
In schools that have middle schools.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, one more.
Lockers for the gym, for the pool area.
The lockers are there, that's the second phase of the renovations, but the ones that are there are using the current.
All right. And each person brings their own lock.
Yes,
Okay, these will provide visitors, just whoever wants.
yes.
Space available.
Okay, I think we got them all, Mrs. Strong?
I believe so.
Thank you. Yeah, let's check them out.
I just like recommend maybe IDs like the county does for the pool. Provide, once they provide residency, proof of residency, provide an ID for the family, a card like the county does for their pool.
Well, as we get a little more sophisticated and evolved, we'll probably look at pool passes specifically for that purpose. So once it's done, it's done.
Because that's a pain. Every time you come, you got to bring proof of, like, don't you know me by now?
We're in our infancy. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Corinne D'Amato.
Hello, everybody. My name is Karine D'Amato. I'm a Hamilton reading specialist, and also, when I woke up this morning, president of the Melbourne Federation of There was no swearing in for me, but there was some swearing. Like responsibility. You know, I'm glad Jeff came tonight. It's been a month of saying goodbyes, you know, and it's very difficult to watch Jeff leave. So he's been sticking around. I certainly know that he's been a mentor of mine for the past 25, 30 years, and I'm not going to let him go as easily as he may want. He has been, he's set a tone in this district that I plan on continuing, absolutely, as far as an openness and a trust and an honesty. I congratulate the board members, the incumbents that are back. It was wonderful watching you get sworn in, and now President Wanda. You know, just it does my heart good, because what I also realized when I woke up and my heart stopped racing, I realized I've been home for 40 years in this town. You know, I've worked here, I worked at Milestone School as soon as I got out of college. I grew up in the neighborhood Yonkers and came to work here right away, and it's been a family to me the whole time. And I got to watch a lot of the children grow up into adults and then bring their own kids, you know, to school and trust them with us. And and a lot of you as well. You know, you all are family to me. I watch you and I know you care about the kids. I know you care about the teachers. And I know you care about everyone that works here. And that's quite a job on your shoulders as well, to make sure you do right. So together, I'm hoping that we can move forward towards this vision. It's exciting. You know, we have an administration here that's stuck around for a change. I know the history of Mount Vernon because I've lived it for 40 years. And I will tell you that this is an administration that I love working with, every single one of them. They're open, you know, even Rick gave me a call this morning. I mean, everybody here is just so welcoming, and they want to know what's going on. They want the honesty, and that's all I ask for. I know that we can go far as long as we can trust each other, and I know we will go far because we all care about these kids. And we've seen them grow, we've seen their successes, and we've seen them come back and share those successes with us. And that's a credit to everybody here. So I just wanted to say I'm glad that I'm MVFT president. And I look forward to working with every single one of you. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll have the report from the superintendent.
Okay, good evening all.
Good evening.
I have a few things I'd like to share with you on my report this evening. To begin, I would first like to congratulate Trustee Wanda White and Trustee Arlene Torres on their appointment this evening. I look forward to our anticipated journey together in the coming year. And I'd like to extend my thanks and appreciation to Trustee Saunders for her leadership, guidance, and especially her support. Just to recap a few things, we had a very pleasant and pleasantly uneventful closing of school this year. Thankfully, graduations and moving up ceremonies went well, and our children and staff are off to a peaceful summer with their summer reading assignments. And we are also, I am very excited and very proud to announce that Mount Vernon is featured in the July edition of District Administration, which is a well-regarded national magazine in the field of education. We are praised in the publication as a district of distinction for our improvement efforts and the implementation of the 2020 vision specifically. It actually refers to the 2020 vision in this national model as a reform model, which says a lot about our work, that a national magazine would recognize our 2020 vision as a model that other districts across the nation should emulate. I also just wanted to report out, as I shared with you in my update last week, that our principals and administrators were required to read Start With Why. And what we tried to do over the summer is make sure we all have a frame of reference for our work moving forward. And this book was the foundation and the framework for our administrators retreat, which included all district administrators, supervisors of special ed, principals, assistant principals, and of course members of the superintendent's cabinet. And members were asked, as part of our retreat, they were asked to create an analogy to their interpretation of their reading, which really gets to how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. And some of the comments that were shared in one of the report out sessions was making this analogy, and I'll just share a few of them with you. Knowing your why is like a kitchen table. It brings everyone together with 4 legs for support. Knowing your why is like Muhammad Ali. He was able to overcome obstacles, yet willing to stand alone when necessary. Knowing your why is like a hot air balloon. You have to see things from above in order to get the big picture. So these are just some of the things that our administrators shared, and I would encourage the board in your leisure to, as you can see, I have a very well-read copy here, but I would encourage the board to in your spare time, grab a hold of this book and really look at why. Why do we do the things we do? And start with the question why when we make decisions related to how we allocate resources to our buildings, how we support our children, how we support our teachers and our administrators, and ultimately how we support one another as a leadership entity. I'd also like to take this opportunity to bring Mr. Ruliano to the microphone and share with you in your place. You have a couple of documents, one of which is a flyer that goes home announcing our swim lessons that will launch this summer. First session begins July 16th and the second session on August 13th. And I have to thank Mr. Ruliano for putting this together for me this weekend in particular as we tried to work out a few things. One of the things that I really wanted to try to commit to doing is not letting money be a barrier for students to take advantage of the swim lesson. So through Assemblyman Pretlow, we were able to secure an unrestricted grant that would give us an opportunity to subsidize the swim lesson. So as Alfredo goes through the swim proposal, I would like to suggest to the board that we allocate funds from this grant to subsidize for students who may be eligible for a fee waiver so that as many kids as possible can take advantage of this. Mr. Ruliano.
Okay, so first, one of the big things that is launching next Monday is the open swim. We will be running the open swim, and that will be from 9 to 12, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And going forward, we want to start swim lessons and bring swimming back to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon doesn't have any lap swims or swimming pools or lunch swimming pools. We do have Wilson Waves down the road, but it isn't a place that's ideal for learning swimming. With the pool finally up and running again, we can do that now. So we're looking to have our first session run from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. And that session will start from July 16th and run through August 3rd. We're looking to run 30-minute classes, no more than 5 participants per class, and run it for the 2 hours straight with 5 instructors. So if we do that, we can get up to 300 students taught in that session. Ideally, that's not a long enough session for us to teach somebody to swim, but it's a good benchmark. It's a good start for a community that hasn't had swimming in a very long time. Our second swim session, we would like to start on August 13th, and that will run all the way through the end of the month, so August 31st. What I put on here is just a couple of things that some people might not know, other people might know. Everyone's expected to wear a swim cap. We will be running preschool classes and teen classes. We'll have a max participant at 5 students per class, and they will run for 30 minutes. Registration will be first come, first served, and I'm assuming that it's going to be very, very limited with the amount of feedback that we have been getting with the community. On the back of the sheet, you will see a curriculum that I basically kind of spent a couple of years building. This curriculum isn't just kind of get in the water and splash around. This curriculum is really based on teaching each person how to swim and become a very, very strong swimmer. It's geared to get children as well as teenagers that don't know how to swim onto swim teams. But they don't need to join the swim team if they don't want to. They will have the skills though by the end to join the swim team or just do laps in the pool. And one of the big things that we want to do is we want to make sure that the class sizes stay small. We never want to really put anybody in danger as far as our participants, our instructors, our lifeguards, by having 10 or 15 children per instructor. We want to make sure that we are really kind of bringing that number down so everybody gets the most out of every single lesson. As far as that's kind of it. There's a lot of information on the back of the sheet. The registration will be on the district's website. and we'll do the registration through there. And then we'll get the attendance sheets and we'll put them with the appropriate instructors.
So we are looking to do an online registration process. We will be announcing this by way of robocall, the district website, and putting an ad in Black Westchester as well. The online process that we are looking to do will provide parents with an opportunity to go online and make their payment or make their application for a fee waiver. We are also looking at an app that parents will be able to download that will make this accessible from their mobile device as well. And you have in front of you a tentative budget. Of course, our goal is to get this pool to a point where it is self-sustaining, but it's my recommendation that we use this unrestricted grant to subsidize, again, some of the costs for our children whose parents may not be able to send, particularly those families who have multiple children, to swim lessons. But I do want to thank you for putting this together and looking forward to the launch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, years ago when the pool was open originally, the community was able to come in and use it on open session. When are you going to be doing that, or are you planning on doing that?
Well, that actually starts this coming Monday from 9 to 12. So the community will be able to come in and have lap swim and general kind of play, free swim. So we will have 2 lanes that are dedicated for anybody that wants to come in and do laps, and then on the other side, it'll be cordoned off by the shallow end and deep end so that anybody doesn't kind of slip into the deep end, and lifeguards will obviously be there.
How is the staffing? Who are the lifeguards? What do you know?
The lifeguards have not been hired yet. We have started the interview process, and we're going to be finishing up the hiring this week.
Are any of them Mount Vernon High students?
Not currently. Oh, no, wait a second, one person that did.
In the district high schoolers?
No.
And is there a plan to do training programs to make those jobs available to our students?
Yes, so one of the things that I'm certified in is I'm a lifeguard instructor. So working with the physical education classes, one of the things we can do is put an elective together. One of the electives would be a lifeguarding course, and we can split it up into a bunch of different ways. We can split it up into a section where we actually have to work a lot more with teaching the participants how to actually, or the students, how to actually swim. And then by the middle or towards the end of the year, we actually start the lifeguarding course. Then we can do a little bit more of an accelerated program where we just kind of hop right into the course because there's less to teach as far as swimming skills go. And just overall, there are just a bunch of different safety courses that we can branch out to, responding to emergencies, which camp directors need. These are all courses that are under the things that I can teach as a lifeguard instructor. One of the certifications that I'm currently working on right now is a water safety instructor IT course, which allows me to actually certify water safety instructors. It's one of the certifications that you need to be a professional swim instructor. So these are all the courses that we can possibly put into the physical education curriculum as far as aquatic skills.
Right, and I mean, I'll just speak for myself. I think it should be a priority to try and arrange the training so that by the time the next summer comes, we have some in-district students who can have those jobs.
Correct. And one of the biggest places that need those lifeguards is Westchester County Parks and Recs. They currently need about 150, if I'm not mistaken, 150 to 200 lifeguards to run all their pools adequately. One of their pools is still down and under construction, so once that pool gets up and running also, they are going to need even more lifeguards. So making it a priority to train our students in lifeguarding courses is a major thing for us right now.
So with the shortage of lifeguards kind of in the county and the search for that, are we confident that we'll be able to, staff that?
As staff our pool right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
By Monday.
Yes. Yes, we will definitely be able to staff the pool by Monday. That won't be a problem at all. Supplying lifeguards to Westchester County Parks and Recs, additionally us, we definitely won't be able to do that by this summer, but we will start to be able to put that out there to the students by the fall.
And New Rochelle's pool is closed too, so you can still send their kids for that charge. What about after August? Is there a plan to have open swim? Is that even possible during the school year, or is that not really feasible?
Well, during the school year, our goal is, of course, to make swimming a part of the school curriculum. So then the after hours, and I know that we do want to make sure that we're making it available to the swim team so that we can charge rental fees, so that we collect the money to make the pool self-sustaining. So space, any time that is left available at that point, would yes be available for open swim. And so Alfredo mentioned that our goal is to get these people in place as soon as possible. So I will be exercising my authority to do the hiring between board meetings, obviously, once these people go through the screening necessary to be placed on an agreement where they can function in our district, and then having it approved if necessary. It may not even be necessary retroactively at that point. We lost some time. Unfortunately, our AD, as you know, has been out for health reasons. There's been this gap in getting some of these positions filled, but they have been posted and the interviews are underway. Okay, thank you, sir.
Oh, sorry, just one detailed question. Sure. The ages for these classes, like, is that the student's age as of when? As of when class starts, as of January 1? What's the date?
Pretty much when the class starts. So we want to keep as many 3, 4, and 5-year-olds together as possible. There's so many similarities with them that we don't want to put a 4-year-old who is a very, very good swimmer with a 7-year-old that isn't a very good swimmer. Typically, it's a bad situation. The 7-year-old typically ends up not wanting to swim anymore because the 4-year-old is a better swimmer. In these preschool classes that I've set up, they do progressively get harder. I have had 2.5-year-olds that have been able to swim the length of the pool and have been able to pick their heads up and take their own breath. And then I've also had 10-year-olds that struggle for 5 or 10 feet. So it all depends, and we will be grouping them accordingly to their skill and moving pieces around as far as that goes. We want to make sure that the class isn't moving too fast for some people or moving too slow for others.
Idea.
And if I must say, he is a great instructor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other report?
Yes, ma'am, it does. Thank you. That completes my report.
Okay, and the next on the agenda is the report of the president of the board. As you know, I don't have a report, but I will look to Trustee Saunders. Do you have a report? Okay. Committee reports, Micah? Trustee Micah?
No policy committee, not this meeting.
Trustee Israel?
I just want to talk a little bit, really quick. Good evening, Mount Vernon. First and foremost is our obligation to speak to the very tragic event that had taken place, that the world is aware of, with a young man not far from the Mount Vernon City School District, Sandro Guzman. And, speaking to the family, we want the family and all supporters and friends to know that the Mount Vernon City School District is with you, and behind you, and supports any efforts to bring some healing to the situation. I think we're one of the districts who, become a little bit numb to these type of events and things like that, and we just connect with it so much. So I just want to extend that to the family and to anyone affected. To that family. You know, we are obviously discussed that we have this grieving mother that we want to be behind, and we just want to pledge that we are a supporter of the family. If needed, we can contact us, contact the contact Rick, we'll do whatever needed. And it obviously strikes a chord because of life here in Mount Vernon for some of us, and obviously it brings back, and we don't want to go back. We just stopped really hearing Shamoy McKenzie so much, and that's like a daughter to me, so I'll forever keep her name alive. And listen, we've had such a great outpouring of support from the entire Westchester. I mean, just across the world, we've got a really strong support that helped us heal in that time of struggle. So, you know, just one of those moments, and we just want to communicate that with you. That's it. For our Mount Vernon residents, we are asking for continued involvement, community members. I'm pleased to say that you know, in the community, I have members I think that are watching the live stream. I think we're doing a better job with being more visible, and good things are happening on the outside. I have a lot of people that's looking to get involved. They're looking to exchange emails and numbers, and they do want to help. So that's always a plus. We need volunteers to share ideas, stories, time, in any capacity that we can give to our lovely city. And that's pretty much what I have. Congratulations to our new Vice President and President.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stan, trustee, sorry.
That's okay.
Trustee Stan.
No committee to report.
Dr. Ning, trustee Ning. And trustee, Vice President, Arlene. Okay, and I really don't have a report, but we are really working hard to get our buildings done. If anyone has gone by to see Williams School, they are tearing out the auditorium, getting ready to do the auditorium. They're doing bathrooms at Williams. So we have to keep up the good work. So thank you, Director Mike Policio, for making our buildings look better. So we thank everyone. I checked the grass schedule. I see our grass is being cut on time in the right place schools. So I'm very proud of this district. I'm very proud to be a member of this board that has done such a great job in authorizing funds to get our buildings and our schools and everything up to par to where they should have been a long time ago. And especially congratulations to Dr. Dr. Hamilton.
Wow.
Oh, Freudian moment here. And to his staff. Thank you very much. Now, I also would like to thank Oh, do you have a committee report? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I wanted to ask Trustee Williams, assuming Trustee Miller's going to be
I'm assuming she'll.
I think there's a few other board members that would like to be a part of that committee.
You talking to the mic?
I'm sorry. Former Trustee Crump.
Thank you.
I said a few other board members would like to be a part of that committee because we would like to see the community grow. So when do you think you are planning on having some meetings? Next Tuesday? Okay, so let's make an announcement when she comes back, because we're not going to have another board meeting until the end of August.
But I will be sending out, correct me, a list on the computer of all the committees, and you will be able to sign up either as chairperson or as a member on any committee go to. We could have co-chairs also.
And are you going to assign all the trustees?
Well, I was going, yes, all trustees, I am asking that you join a committee. I'm not choosing which committee you can join, but I would like you to join a committee. And that's for all 9 trustees. Thank you. Accepting any minutes? No minutes? We would like to enter into executive session.
For the purpose of discussing the employment history of a person or persons, disciplinary action against an employee, settlement agreements, and contract negotiations.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Okay, how long will we be in there?
2 days.
About an hour. Don't go away, we'll be back.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. 4 seconds recess.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. Opportunity for any of the board members to remove an item from the consent agenda.
I'd like to pull 7.3.
7.3.
I'd like to,
Could you just refresh?
That is authorization to renew an agreement with Mentum. Mentum.
Anyone else?
yes, I'd like to pull 10.7.
Is that termination of employment?
Yes. 1089.
Anyone else? 13.1.
Approval of hearing officer and adoption of hearing officer's findings of fact?
No, authorize to increase the this meeting.
Oh, sorry.
I would like to have a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Motion. Trustee Russo, Trustee Saunders.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? And abstain. Okay. We'll hear comments from Trustee McCollum on 7.3. I have a motion.
Motion.
Trustee McCollum. Trustee Saunders.
Okay. For discussion.
Yeah, I'd asked Dr. Corman just to talk, if he could, about credit recovery and how this applies, and split up again. Which schools this is at? This is at, it's being used at Davis, Benjamin Turner, the high school, Mandela, right? So, can you just talk, how does this particular software and program fit into the greater credit recovery programs district-wide, and why are we using this program here and not elsewhere? What do we use elsewhere, et cetera?
Sure, so Admentum is the major company for Plato, which is online courseware. So kids can take courses online when they lose credit, or for enrichment, or for other courses that technically we don't offer in New York once we advance the online learning process. So we've had Plato for many years. One of the things I spoke to you is that as much, it's interactive, so if it was like what living environment, a kid failed living environment and they needed to repeat the course, instead of repeating the whole course, they could take it through Plato or credit recovery. And the content is very rich, it's engaging, it's interactive with the kids. One of the things that we feel is missing, quite honestly, is the mentoring or the one-on-one work, because the content is still the course content kids have to take. So it's New York State Ed approved, it's rigorous. And so some kids aren't as successful as we'd like them to be because they need the one-on-one tutoring with a kid. There was a girl a couple of years ago, there was a foster child, Ocean Ag, who I spent time with in that course, and she met with one of our standards administrators twice a week, and they would go through the course sequence. But it's really one of different companies that offer credit recovery and online courseware. We're actually reducing our expense from last year on this because we're not seeing it used to fidelity yet, and we're going to start exploring some other options of possible courseware that could be possibly a better fit for some of our kids, or make more offerings in courses that we want to offer. Like a kid could take a Plato course in Chinese or Mandarin if we expand our course offerings.
But what is this $45,000 pay for?
So it's access to courses. And
but access to any courses in the whole Plato universe, or just specific ones that were?
Yeah, there's a whole sequence of New York State Ed Department approved courses through Plato, and that gives us access to them. And there's training involved with it, and a certain amount of site licenses for the year.
So this is a flat fee, basically, license based on however many schools you use or whatever.
Yeah, we meet with them, myself, Joe, and others meet with Gary and the members from Plato on implementation throughout the year, how much usage is being used by our kids. We track the usage, we track the amount of kids that are passing or failing that it's effective for. We see it a lot in the math classes and the living environment classes and the science classes.
And I'm looking at the contract, so the quantity, there's some quantities for these licenses, 35, 25, 5,
Yes.
whatever. Are those terminals, like a number of computers that are allowed to use?
Not terminals, but logins.
Number of IDs.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so they're pretty flexible with us because they've been a partner of ours for a number of years. They have a bunch of other resources like Study Island and other assessments and other courseware that might be fruitful for us as we move forward in the district and we become more digitally advanced. But right now, that contract is basically for the Plato and the online courses.
So what do we do at Thornton? That's not on the list here.
Not sure. I didn't read. I don't have the.
So Mandela, the high school.
So historically, it has been for those kids that really failed courses. Thornton has not needed that piece, but we could move it over to that if they need it because of the high graduation rates.
I see. So this is a program primarily aimed at giving kids another opportunity to get credit, right? That's why it's called credit recovery.
And as we grow, it'll be for more.
Right, and you're making the point that Plato, as an existing platform, offers a whole lot more than just that.
Yes, very, very much so.
We should. Okay, thank you.
What I could do also, Mike, is I could bring it to the next education committee, and we could do a presentation from it to sort of get it back up in the surface, because it is a blended learning best practice, and it is used in many districts throughout the United States.
Okay, thanks. I have no more questions.
No questions, anyone?
Well, we have to resolve this one first.
I would have a motion to, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Next one, I have a motion for 10.7. Second.
Which one is that?
10.7.
Determination of Floyd number 08.
Yeah, so I don't really want to bring up any discussion. I just want to abstain from that vote. That's okay.
So I have a motion by Mr. McDonough, who will be second?
Glad I wait. Just a sec before we go. This is.
This is the case we just discussed in
Right.
executive session.
So there's two resolutions.
There are, so. May I?
Yes.
Without breaching confidence, I'm confused, so.
So, the Board of Education, under the consent agenda, adopted the hearing officer's findings and the recommendations. Contained in that recommendation was this termination, but as a matter of practice, for paperwork purposes, we always list the termination as a separate resolution way, if somebody came in and they want to do research on what happened to person A, they can very easily look into board docs or board minutes and find that they were appointed on this date and their employment with us on this date. Otherwise, there's just like gaping emptiness that happened to the person. Understand?
Don't be so dramatic about it, but I understand.
So all those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain? You abstain, okay? And motion passes. And the next one was
It was
13.1. I have a motion?
I thought it was already pulled.
It was, I was told earlier that it was already off, it's off the consent agenda, so.
Oh, I see.
So it's already off. Motion by Ms. Torres.
Do I have a second?
Second. Mr. Williams.
Okay.
Sure. We previously discussed the contract with Focus Media and their public relations services for the district, and I just wanted the superintendent to explain what his assessment is of their services and what the plans are going forward with Focus Media in terms of rebranding the district's brand and working with the community as well.
I appreciate the question. So there are essentially three levels in my mind of our efforts to improve communication and rebrand the district. Focus Media really provides the aerial view, if you will, district-wide, making sure messages are shared with the major networks, major media outlets, and looking at the overarching goals of the district and progress, and those positive things that we want to get into the minds and within the focus of our community, locally and broader community. The next level,
press releases, including things like.
Yes.
Yes.
The next level, which is I think something that we really was lacking in, which they weren't hired to do, is more community-based grassroots efforts. So we have filled that gap now with having someone in our community take on the role of being our grassroots person, our person who's on the ground, looking at what's happening on a very community-based level. And then Rick's responsibility is to coordinate all of that and bring it all together. I think Focus Media has fulfilled the obligations of their contract. They have done, I think, a very professional job with creating literature that gets sent to our community, which represents our district well. I think they have covered events that we needed to get out. But I also think that there are still a cadre of people that we have not effectively reached, people who may not have access to the internet or people who may not rely on the internet as a means of gathering information, and that's why I think this next level is so important. And then lastly, one of the things I want to do moving forward is, in addition to what we do at the district level, asking our principals to be more consistent about feeding information to Rick, to feed to Focus Media about what's happening in their schools specifically. So in addition to us rebranding our district, our principals are expected to rebrand their schools and highlight those things on a regular basis through our district-wide newsletter and through their own community-based newsletters about things that they want to showcase to help rebrand their schools. Because oftentimes people know what's going on district-wide, but they may not know specifically what's unique about Pennington School or what outreach efforts are going on. And our parent liaisons can also be used to help get that information to us. Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries.
No.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstains?
You're abstaining? Oh.
Motion carries, thank you. Unfinished business? Yeah, unfinished business? New business?
If you want to bring up the need for Denise,
We have several items that need the board's attention on July 17th. We're hoping to have a special board meeting early in the morning. We don't anticipate a large agenda, several personnel items that just need to be taken care of on that date specifically. Is everybody available? You tell us.
I should be available anytime.
7:30 usually works for everybody. Ms. Torres? Okay. Mr. Rose?
Okay. So July 17th, our next board meeting, special meeting, 7:30 in the morning. 7:30 in the morning. Because there's no other business, I'd like a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion.
Seaman Cohen?
Who seconded?
Ms. Torres? All those in favor?
All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Have a great 4th of July, everybody.